I'm Austin Luca.
I'm Andrew Harp.
This is With Nothing to Say.
Let's talk about Videodrome.
Before we get started this week, next week we are going to be watching Secret Honor, the Robert Altman film, in celebration of the late Philip Baker Hall, one of the greatest actors of the 20th and 21st century. Real tragedy that he passed away recently, and I'm very excited for this film. Andrew, you suggested this film. It is only one person for the whole film, so I'm guessing it's just like a 90-minute dial or monologue.
It's just a monologue. It's just a 90-minute monologue of him playing Richard Nixon.
That's great. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, me too.
For this week, we watched Videodrome. Andrew, you suggested this movie. This is one of your favorite movies of all time. Why did you suggest this movie?
Because it rocks. Because it's a great movie. New Cronenberg's out. Cronenberg's one of my favorite directors of all time. Seen most of his movies now. And Videodrome is probably my favorite of his, just because I think it is a pretty good distillation of ideas and philosophy. And I think it's distilled in a really great way in this movie. You know, it's less than 90 minutes. You know, it looks amazing. Yeah, it's just like, I think a good, like I said, distillation of what kind of like his movies are about and always been about. And really, I think introduce you to his really, really unique eye and perspective on cinema.
Yeah, he is very peculiar in his outlook on the world. Certainly not the most optimistic of people, but it is quite intriguing. And this film, and in many ways, his newest film, which I saw in theaters the other day, have very similar philosophies, which seem to kind of run through a lot of Cronenberg's work. As you said, this is sort of his
like manifesto.
Yeah, his manifesto of sorts, in which basically this idea that violence and sex are sort of one and the same, or that sex is just a form of violence, and violence is like the next form of sex. It's like a pure form of sex in a certain way.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's like Cronenberg is almost predicting that will happen, right? Like with television and with mass media, he's almost predicting that, like, you know, pornography will eventually burrow in our brains enough to the point where we will get the same like rush that we get when we see a car crash or when we see like a person get shot in the face. You know what I mean? Like it's, yeah, like you said, it's almost kind of like this one and the same kind of thing. Yeah, his perspective in this movie, I think, is all about like kind of like mass media and its effects on us. I like this movie a lot because I don't think he is really like, I don't think he's waving his finger at anyone or anything. I think in this movie he's simply saying like, it's happening, it's happened, it's happening, and there's nothing you can do, and you can either fight back or accept it, and either way it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really provide like a solution, and he more is just kind of saying like, this is the future, that's it, you know. And it is the future, we live in it right now, like that's the future. It's amazing.
There's this psychological phenomenon in which humans very quickly become desensitized to things that at first seem rather phenomenal. And when the study took place, it wasn't in the sense of violence. It was mostly like, you know, when you move to a new place, like the first 2 weeks are absolutely wonderful, but over time, you kind of get used to it and you basically always go back to your baseline. And when you're always going back to your baseline, you're always looking for something to sort of hype it up. And in Cronenberg's world and his, as you said, very correct prediction of what was and what is, because we are constantly stimulated by, well, sex, violence, the internet, it just takes more and more to kind of get anything over that base level. And as Cronenberg's work has repeatedly shown, is that base just has to keep moving higher and higher and higher. And I mean, I guess eventually it just ends in just complete chaos, which is something he certainly gets into in his new film and into this film here. So I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing. As you say, Cronenberg really isn't criticizing anyone for this. I mean, it's certainly a body horror film, but there's no sort of wagging the finger, as you say. It is sort of just like, here it is, do with this what you will.
Yeah, which I love. I like that just because like I think Cronenberg is just kind of I think he's positing like the alternatives of what may or may not be, and who knows, maybe it is like the future of like human evolution in this movie. They do that in Crimes of the Future, and we'll talk about that more in depth later. That's a little bit more literal in terms of like the idea of human evolution or whatever. But in Videodrome, I find it even more interesting, like the role of like technology and screens and mass media and how it kind of maybe be how it might be kind of like, and I don't think they use the word like, they might use the word like evolution in Videodrome, I don't remember, but they kind of posit like kind of like a long live the new flesh, you know what I mean? It's the new flesh. The new flesh is like what we are, what we are today, as kind of like less as like kind of like animals or even human beings, but more just kind of like a radio antennas, in which we are kind of like connected to screens like technology in a really fundamental way that is hard to separate from a regular human being. I mean, there's communities around the world that don't necessarily have smartphones or TVs everywhere, but still, quote unquote powerful countries do, and yeah, they affect, they're inseparable.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of jumping into the film here, I don't think it's any coincidence that the very first scene in the film is a television, a videotape, a recording of the secretary or some sort of executive assistant of our protagonist.
Of Max Wren. He's a
He
protagonist.
sure
He's kind of
is.
an asshole. One of my favorite movie characters ever. He's really good. James Woods in it is very good in the role. Great performance. One of the better performances in a, yeah, just really good. Yeah, like you said, he gets like a wake up call from a secretary on his television set. And yeah, he wakes up and he gets ready for the day. And he's the president of Civic TV, which is like a Toronto UHF TV station that just airs just porn, basically, like basically just like porn. Basically, they're just like, we'll run whatever. It doesn't really matter. We're just trying to like get people to watch our television show. And that happens to, and what people want is that they want, sex and violence. Okay, that's fine. He's the president of that television station.
The 80s is such a crazy time to be alive. I mean, I love the fact that so for like the morning wake up call to be a thing, his assistant has to record them the night before, put them on a videotape, and then hand deliver it to him each day, each night before. And then he puts them in his video recorder. And then I guess there's like some sort of like automatic system in which it turns on.
Yeah, like a timer or something. Yeah.
It's crazy. I love it. I love that.
Yeah, they're like television. Obviously, it's Videodrome. There are television screens everywhere. The television is the retina of the mind's eye. I love the look of the movie. It's a great looking movie. It's slick. Maybe my favorite looking Cronenberg movie. Maybe I think it is. He gets up. He's like a bachelor, and he lives in a disgusting apartment, and he's like looking at. I like how he's like eating breakfast, and he's like looking at like pictures of like pornography, and he goes and meet the guy, and they're like hashing it out, and we understand he's like making like deals and stuff to see if like it would be good to air in the television show, and then he's like back at the office, and he's with his little like partners and stuff, and they're watching it, and they're like totally bored. It's like a woman like masturbating on like a dildo. You don't watch it, but that's what they're watching. And they're just completely bored, including Max Wren. I love how like that camera pans over the table slowly, and it kind of like zooms in on Max Wren, and he's completely bored of it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this movie for a TV station that is all about sex and pornography, you don't actually see all that much sex. I mean, you see a lot of nudity and you see a lot of stills, but I can't think of a lot of moments where you're actually like watching sex, which I don't feel one way or the other about. But kind of getting back to what you were saying earlier, his films always look very dirty. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but just like the walls are constantly like coming
This shit
apart.
is
It
disgusting.
is.
This movie's fucking disgusting. So yeah, like in kind of, I guess kind of like going forward, he meets, I think, Harlan, which is his like a tech guy, and he's like, hey, check this out. And he's like, what is this? It's called Videodrome. I picked up a signal in Malaysia, and check it out. It's like really weird. And yeah, like the video is like disgusting. It's like it looks like it really does look scary. He explains, he's just like, yeah, in this show, it's all it is. They're in this weird looking clay room, and these guys in these black suits, like black, like outfits, like just black. All they do is torture and murder people. That's it. Like that's the program.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. And like Max Ren is like, what? Oh shit. Okay. He's like very fascinated by it immediately. He's completely taken with it.
He's hypnotized in a way. In the very next scene, he is at a interview. He kind of makes this argument that because they're this small town, like small time media company, they don't have the option to show anything other than smut. Like he genuinely, even though he's not a very nice human being, he does believe that like he's giving the people what they want. Like he doesn't think like he's bastardizing.
It's purely economics.
Yeah, it's purely economics, as he says. Like, look, this is what people want, and I just give it to them. Like, I'm just doing my job. And of course, we meet Professor Brian Oblivion for the first time, who we meet through a TV screen because, of course, the TV is the retina of the eye,
of the mind's eye.
Of the mind's eye. I don't understand what that means.
I think he's trying to say that the television screen, and I mean the television screen you can equate it to it being like a phone screen or any screen at all or anything like that, or mass media in general that we might consume or read or whatever. And I think he's trying to say that, like, we don't look at TV. Like we don't watch television. We don't live in our world and watch television. Like television is our world. It's how we see the world. We don't see the world through our television. That's how the world is. Like that's our like understanding of the world and how we see it. It's not like eyeglasses or something like that where you can kind of like watch television and be like, oh yeah, now I understand. It's literally like in our brains, you know what I mean? It's how I think that's the idea.
Okay. Yeah. So it's how we grasp the world. Like it is in many ways our reality, the television itself.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, it's like that is our reality. Television doesn't help us see the world. It is how we see the world. It is the world. I think that's the idea, is what he's trying to say. Yeah, his stuff is like kind of like, like very highfalutin, you know what I mean? As it's supposed to be. He's like Dr. Oblivion, he's like a professor or whatever. So he's just kind of has all these like very highfalutin phrases about like television. But I like his stuff. His stuff is good.
Yeah, he's definitely sort of this purposely highfalutin sort of character who talks in these riddles a lot of the times, which we find out why he talks out in these riddles later in the film, which we will get into. But before that, we're back at this man's gross ass apartment, and he's got all these videotapes, and his girly friend is looking through them. She finds the Videodrome tape, and they play it, and they start watching Videodrome, and they get on.
Played by Debbie Harry, by the way. They're having a good time. Yeah, she gets turned on by it. She fucking loves it. And they have like this great looking sex scene where like you see, look, here's the thing about like Cronenberg's body horror, like a person transforming into some monster. I find that very fun, but like when James Wood is like putting like the needle through like her earlobes, it's like it's like cringy for me. I'm like, oh whoa, it's like yeah. But they like have sex, and it's great when that they're having sex and it zooms out and they're like in the Videodrome room, like on the floor, and you get to see like the room not on the television but like in the real film. It looks great. I love that.
Yeah, you could argue this is his first hallucination, in that he can't split reality from what he sees. Like, as if, I guess the idea of Videodrome, I mean, it's sort of a like indoctrination to get people like strong for war or whatever, I guess.
We'll talk about this later too, but like I think the idea is that like it makes you sick, right? Like I think the idea is that like if you watch Videodrome and you like it, you suck and you're weak, and therefore Videodrome will kill you. I think is like the idea of the characters later who reveal themselves to be. They wanted to air it so everyone will watch it, um, but especially for the people who do watch it and like it, it'll give them a tumor and kill them. Yeah, I think is the idea. And once again, we'll talk this later. I think Oblivion though worked on it, right? And he didn't want that. What he wanted was like Videodrome to be kind of like this next step in evolution kind of thing, right? Like television, like, being a part of everyday life. And it's almost kind of like this melt, and it's almost like this next step where we are literally like melded into it.
Yeah, long live the new Flash.
Yeah, long live the new Flash, baby. I also like the character of the old pornographer lady. She shows him like that, like a softcore porn, and he's just like, yeah, this is boring. We need something like Videodrome. And she's like, what's that? It's like, it's just like a program where all it is torture and murder. And she's just like, and he's like, that's what people want. And she's like, oh, God help us. Like she's like an old woman that's just like, oh God, now we've hit this like level. And she is tasked to investigate Videodrome, and they meet as well, and they have like a little like meeting, and she's just like, yo, this shit is scary. She's basically just like, I'm scared, very, very scared. He's like, it has something that you don't have, which is a philosophy, right? Because Max, at this point, is like, he's just mostly interested in Videodrome for like the material, like the money, and he's also fascinated by it. He likes to watch it, but she's just like, it has something you don't have, Max. Philosophy. It has a philosophy. That's a great line. But she tells him like, yeah, Brian Oblivion is connected to it in some way. So,
and he learns that his girlfriend, who is very much attracted to Videodrome, Nikki, and
yeah, she loves it,
is really into the whole violence thing, which each to their own. But she basically tells him that she is going to. Well, she doesn't say it. She implies that she's going to audition for Videodrome, which at this point he doesn't think is like a real thing, which I guess that is like the conversation that he has with the old pornography lady, which is like, why would it be real? It's like cheaper and easier if it's fake.
Yeah, he doesn't think it's real. Yeah, right. Early, he's just like, wow, it looks really realistic. Like when he first sees it, he's like, wow, that's really realistic. Wow, it looks great. He doesn't think that it's real at first.
But according to her, at least, it's all real. It's none of this stuff is made up, and he's certainly shocked a bit by it, and is certainly concerned because again, his girlfriend Nikki has gone to audition for now what may just be some sort of torture murder video thing, which isn't great. It's not a great place to be.
Yeah, he's just like, don't do it, and she does it anyway. There's of course that great moment where she like burns her breast with her cigarette or whatever, and he's like, don't go, and she's like, I'm gonna go. Okay. So he investigates. He's like a detective, he's a shitty detective. He like goes to the cathode ray mission, which is funny. It's just like it's like a homeless mission, and they just have like cubicles with televisions, and so he just like it's a drug, like it's a Narcan like shelter or something like that, and just all these homeless people watching television in the cathode ray mission, and he like comes across like the daughter of Brian Oblivion, which is Bianca. And they have like this conversation. He's like, I want to go see him and talk to him. He's like, I really want to talk to him about Videodrome. Have you heard of this? And she's just kind of like, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, it's here. Why don't you watch this videotape? And he's like, okay. And he goes to his apartment.
And when he's watching the videotape, it's the first big hallucination. The guy's like talking directly to him, which we learned doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
he says his name. He's like Max.
Yeah, he says his name. He's like, what? There's this sort of, whenever the TV's involved, like this back and forth, as if they're actually communicating with the TV, even though like technically it's on tape. And so in this scene, he is sort of communicating, like they have like a dialogue between them, even though like it's supposed to be pre-recorded, and he hallucinates, and then the TV starts to like breathe. I don't know. It's like almost like as if a body is inside.
Yeah, it becomes like this living object. It's amazing. It's like has like veins and stuff, and he's like touching it like it's some kind of like organ or something, and it's like
It's so gross.
it's so fucking disgusting. It becomes like this living thing, this living component. And Nikki comes across the screen too, right? And she's just kind of like, "Yep, I'm here in Videodrome, Max. Hey, she's just kind of talking about like her being in it, in Videodrome. Yeah, I just love to like her lips like are on the screen. That's a great image, of course, and like the her lips coming across the screen, and it kind of like I think it pokes out a little, and then like Max just kind of like
Leans into the TV.
there are plenty of like phallic and imagery and like imageries of like vaginas and stuff like that, and yeah, and he like kisses the screen and he kind of like goes in there and he's like halfway into his body.
He pushes his head in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too like Oblivion says in the tape that like it's like Videodrome is like a battleground. Like he kind of describes it as like a war, to control the minds of people. The whole section of the movie is really great. I think he looks at the tape too. I think that's a moment where he looks at the tape and it like breathes. I love that effect. It looks great. It's like a second. It's like 2 seconds. It's like a second, but it looks great.
It does. Every time the videotapes just get more and more. I mean, the effects overall on this are just, as in every Cronenberg film, are just absolutely insane.
But they're very subtle in this movie, and honestly, like they're typically subtle.
Yeah, subtle, and really a lot of them aren't even that complicated of effects. It's just like putting in the time and effort to do it. And he does it even like in these small moments, like in the videotapes where it would be easier to just he does it anyways because Cronenberg is a true auteur as it is.
Yeah, he rocks. Like I don't think his effects are meant to like show off or anything like that. I think it's just meant to kind of once again just kind of like put into material visuals, like what is going on in the story and with the characters. How can you make the movie more effective?
So he goes back to the missionary place of sorts, talks to the daughter of Oblivion.
I love the movie. It's great. The story is a little convoluted. It is a little hard to follow. When like Max like goes to the mission and then he leaves and then he comes back and then he returns again later. It's like, okay, like we've been in this location. It's kind of like can we mix it up a little bit? Him going back to the location again and again is a little tedious. Yeah, that aspect is like not great. It's fine. I think for me, I still love the movie. I think it is perfect. But like yeah, that part of the movie I can see maybe people not enjoying as much just because like yeah, it is a little hard and weird to follow, and it probably requires like at least like 2 viewings. That might be my biggest complaint.
No, I agree. There's this sort of hypnotizing effect in his work, and it is purposeful, but a lot of the time the colors are very bland, very muted. As we said before, it at times looks disgusting. It's not a pretty film. It's not a film that's when you look at it, it's like, oh, look at all these beautiful colors and signs. It at times can feel very blank in a certain sense, and I think that it's purposeful. I mean, part of it is just sort of the '80s aesthetic and sort of the way a lot of these films in the '80s were lit and shot, but I think also part of it is the way it sort of draws you in because a lot of these scenes look very similar, right? It's a lot of browns and beiges and grays and black, and there's not a lot of color. And so you see these kind of same scenes over and over again. You go back to the apartment again and again, you go back to the missionary, you go back to his office again and again.
It's also just like he has like no money to make this fucking shit. You know what I mean? It's like you have to use like the same like few locations, and I think it's fine. But yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah, it just is how it is. And of course, we quote unquote meet Professor Oblivion, who at this point we learn is dead. He's a dead man.
We learn a lot of things really, really quickly to the point where it's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Where Bianca's just basically like, look, Videodrome, it has a signal in it that gives people brain tumors. Okay. And Oblivion helped work on it because he thought that like these hallucinations could be like a higher form of human reality, of human perception of reality. He found out it was being used by his partners
For evil.
Evil, and he wanted to stop them, but he was killed. And then we're revealed that he's been dead. So the brain tumor killed him, and he recorded tons of videos. So she goes into this room, which is great, and she's like, "Yep, this is Brian Oblivion," and it's just tapes and tapes and tapes of him saying whatever, all kinds. Because he's just like, yeah, he would record like tapes every single day of him talking about this or that. And that's him now. It's almost like he's not even dead.
Yeah, there is something really interesting about the idea, and perhaps it's even more applicable now than it was then, when, you know, memories are just kind of us reliving our past, and when we can relive our past in this photorealistic environment through photographs and eventually through VR and recordings, and when so much of our life is kind of pre-recorded. I mean, in a way, not only is Professor Oblivion not dead, but like at what point, like how much of your consciousness has to be on a computer, right? How much of your consciousness has to be part of some sort of artificial intelligence before it's considered being alive? And that's kind of, I think that's one of the big points here is like, yeah, Professor Oblivion is dead, but he's kind of also not dead, because all of his ideas, all of his philosophies are still alive. They still exist. And I guess, you know, he can't react to them.
He's in the TV.
He's in the TV.
He's part of the TV.
And of course, as we all know,
why would he be dead? He's in the TV.
The TV is the retina of the mind's eye, Andrew.
I love that shit. Yeah. So he's just like, whoa, that's crazy. Max is like, whoa, okay. This is crazy. And of course you get another great hallucination where he has like a gun and he's playing with his gun. I love it. For some reason, he develops like a rash on his stomach, and then it turns basically into a stomach pussy. That's basically what it is. It's like a mouth. And so he's like, and for some reason, he gets this like inclination to put the gun that he was playing with into his stomach. And then like after he does it, his stomach is like back to normal, and the gun is gone. Like he doesn't know where it is. He's like, and he's going nuts because he's just like, what the fuck? That was a hallucination. Like, what happened to my gun? Did they really put it inside of me?
Absolutely insane and so gross. I mean, it's just such a gross looking, and it's like, I think what's so wonderful about it isn't just the insane looking design, but it has this sort of like movement of its own to it, like almost like it's breathing. It's just
like it's a real organ.
It's disgusting. It is one of the most disgusting things to be put to screen, and all the more to Cronenberg, because that's just
it rocks. And then he gets like a phone call or whatever, and he connects with this guy, Barry Convex, of the Spectacular Optical Corporation, which is an eyeglass company, but it's just an arms company. And it's like the producer. Barry Convex is the producer of Videodrome, and he contacts him and he's like, yo, Max, you should come to the office, come through. And he goes through and he goes there and he's like, Max, I know you've been, having, these hallucinations, I'm going to put this big bulbous thing on your head, and it's going to record you like hallucinating. And it's this big long scene where they go to the office and he sits down and he's like explaining how the thing works. And yeah, he puts a thing on his head and it looks really weird. It doesn't look like anything. It kind of reminds me of like stuff like it reminds me a little bit of stuff in like of technology and existence, and also in Crimes of the Future. It looks a little like a human like organ body part piece of technology. And he puts a thing on his head, and Max has another hallucination of whipping Nikki. I think specifically a television set that she's in, and he is like whipping it, and he
gets real into it.
He gets really into it. He really likes doing it. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Like, I do think that there is something there about like a kind of like a story about like maybe like a person like suddenly, I don't know, like coming to terms with or realizing their I don't know, their sexual like fantasies or their sexual kinks that they maybe like, held back or were unaware of. I think that there's something there that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on though. And like, and on the screen, it turns into like Masha, right? It turns into Masha, the old pornographer lady, and he wakes up and her corpse is in the bed. That part I totally forgot about. She was just like, the corpse is in the bed.
It's just there. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought these were supposed to be hallucinations. And that's the thing about all these hallucinations is with each hallucination, it's harder to separate the hallucination from reality. And then also, again, like with the gun and now the corpse and all these things, is they're sort of somehow intertwined with so-called reality, and he can't seem to grasp, like, because it's not just like he's seeing things, like it's not like a beautiful mind sort of situation where like he's seeing things and they're not there. There's like something beyond it just being a hallucination. And getting back to what you were saying earlier, this is something that in the interview our protagonist said, Max, said almost at the very beginning, which is he was asked, why he produces pornography and kind of this light violence and that sort of thing. And he does say the economics things, but he also says it's a form of allowing people to, release a cathartic form of people releasing these sort of fetishes without endangering anyone. And that's kind of what's happening to him. Like he's learning about his own, I don't want to use the word fetish because that puts like a negative connotation on it, and to each their own, as long as you're not actually torturing anybody or murdering anybody. It is a form of cathartic relief, and kind of he believes at least that they're satiating some primal urge in these people, including himself now, which I think is part of the reason why he's so frustrated by it, because he's kind of terrified of his own desire for violence.
Yeah, you're right. He is scared of it. And that's why the body horror stuff is all really good, because it kind of is almost kind of like not a literal transformation, but there's something about his body that is changing as his like worldview and the way that his mind is changing, right? Mass media, of course, is a part of that. Mass media kind of I don't know, kind of having like a brainwashing element to it, of course, with like its violence and its sex. This kind of goes in hand with the next scene where, he calls Harlan, the broadcaster guy,
Pirate.
the pirate. And he's like, yo, check this out. There's a body in my bed. And he's like, there's nothing there. And he's like, oh, fuck. That's weird. And so they go to the office and he's like, I want to see like the next Videodrome broadcast. And they're like, okay. And they go there, and it turns out Harlan has been working with Convex the whole time.
The whole time.
Yep, the whole time. Like
The plot twist has arrived.
Harlan and Convex are like, look, the reason why we did this is that we want you to join our cause, which is we think that North America, as Harlan says, is going soft. They're decaying. It's like a cultural decay kind of thing where, which whatever that is, you know what I mean, and where we are going to give brain tumors to people who are so obsessed with sex and violence, they would watch Videodrome. So we want to air Videodrome, not because we think we want to make money or because we think it's really great, but because it's so awful. We want people who would actually watch it and like it to die. Look, Videodrome, it's a real program of people getting murdered and stuff, tortured and murdered. So it's bad, but these people are supposed to be the antagonists, right? They're kind of bad because like you probably don't want to give people brain tumors.
That's probably a bad thing.
And they did produce the show, the Videodrome show of torture and
which
murder,
murdered people.
which murdered people. It's very interesting. I like that idea of just like these like people who are like, once again, I don't think Cronenberg like necessarily gives you like a moral like groundwork to say like, yep, this is right and this is wrong. Basic things like murder and torture are bad. But he's mainly saying that like maybe Cronenberg, I think, is just saying like it can't be stopped, like the elimination of people who like this stuff. I don't think it's going to help with anything, is I think his idea. Like I think of the Convex and Harlan like cause is not going to eliminate any quote unquote cultural decay or whatever the fuck that is. What even is that?
Cronenberg seems to be of the opinion that morality, in a lot of sense, other than like the very cut and clear murder, torture, is extremely complicated and there is no right answer. And in the Cronenberg films I have seen, he seems uninterested in giving you sort of a right and a wrong or having your traditional hero in any sense. You know, you're not, I mean, I guess you're kind of rooting for our protagonist here, but on the other hand,
he sucks.
he kind of sucks.
They're like, yo, Max, we're gonna put a tape inside of your torso, and the tape, like, I love that bit where, you know, they put the tape in him, and it's a brainwashing tape that's basically asking him to kill basically his colleagues at the TV station. He like gets his gun out of his chest, and, like, you know, like the coils like come out of it and like connect to his arm and stuff to kind of like really kind of, that is a really good looking effect. And he murders everybody. There is something kind of like mass murdery about that, which is kind of interesting as well. You know what I mean? There's kind of like something kind of going on there with like kind of like the mass murder aspect. You know, I don't think people literally get brainwashed by media to like murder other people. I just think that it's more complicated than that. And I think that the movie kind of also shows that as well.
I mean, I think his point perhaps that is trying to be made here is this desensitization for violence and not necessarily driving people to commit violence, but rather, and you know, not to get political, you see this a lot where when violent acts are committed today, they're quickly overlooked. You know, there's kind of this cycle of we should do something about it, thoughts and prayers, blah, blah, blah. And then we just kind of move on. And I think that's basically what Cronenberg was predicting here is this desensitization to violence. I don't think it's necessarily, as you're saying, driving people like to kill other people, but rather the indifference to the acts of violence, the indifference to people committing these crimes.
I think you're right. I think too, like, it's like kind of like the kind of like the cycle, and, you know, it can be, you can equate it at the time to maybe like changing the channel, but now you can equate it with like scrolling like on a Twitter app or an Instagram app or something like that, in that like we're constantly like completely like, I don't know, brainwashed, and like we've had our brains essentially scrambled by our smartphones and internet and television, and we're constantly looking for like the next thing to either be outraged by or to laugh at or to be entertained by, and we're just kind of like scrolling past everything at like 100 miles an hour. And I think kind of Videodrome kind of predicts that in a very prescient way. And even with like things like horrible things like mass shootings and wars and things like that, like horrible events like that, it's just kind of, it's kind of part of the cycle or part of the content mill, I guess you could say.
As Cronenberg kind of predicts, there's really only one direction that can go in, right? The river only flows one way. Like we're not going to be able to go back, and you know,
It's unstoppable.
It's unstoppable. Like whichever direction, whichever side you were on of Videodrome, like at the end of the day, they're both kind of moving in the same direction. Like they're both moving for mass media to basically be the next thing. And no matter what we do, right? We can't. I mean, I guess you can try, but you can't really restrict the just control that mass media has and will continue to have at a much larger effect over time. But I mean, basically, whichever side you choose, you're going in the same direction.
I feel like I don't want to like give the wrong impression that the movie is more curmudgeony than it is, like a Black Mirror episode, like a really shitty Black Mirror episode, where the idea is like where the episode ends and it's like, yep, computer bad, you know, like computer bad, TV bad, being online bad. I don't think Videodrome is like that at all. I think it's completely intelligent in what it's trying to say about technology and media in the world.
I definitely agree. And after the shooting takes place, which he does quite effortlessly, I mean, just walks in, shoots him, and just walks away.
He very successfully exits. He very successfully kills two people and then leaves. I mean, they do live in Canada, which, you know, it's like, you know, I don't think shootings happen there as often. So I think like they're like, well, it is the 80s, so, you know, too. And he's able to escape very easily.
He just like pretends that he's hurt and basically holds his gun in like his jacket, and they're like, "Oh no, are you okay?" He's like, I was shot," and he just walks away.
Yeah, he just walks out. Very, very, very foolproof plan, is able to escape. And now it's time to kill Bianca. You know, she's in their way because she's an enemy. And he goes once again. He goes back to the mission. We're back. He's wandering around, and he's chasing after Bianca. He really wants to kill her.
Sees his gross ass hand.
Yeah, he's got a gross ass hand. Yeah, like the gun now has almost become like an organ now. It's no longer just like a gun connected. It's now like is a part of him. And he's like a very great effect. Love that. One of the most memorable ones. And he's gonna fucking kill Bianca. And then she's like, look at this. And she like shows him a TV, and it's Nikki being murdered on Videodrome. And he's like, oh no.
And then he's shot through a television screen.
Yeah, he gets shot. Yeah, yeah. The gun like points out of the screen, which looks amazing, and goes fucking kills him. I love it too when he gets shot, and then like the torso appears like in the screen of the set of the television set, and it's got like bullet holes in it. That's a crazy looking. I just love like all these like great looking like visuals and effects. It must have been a lot of work, and a lot of them you only see for maybe like a second or two. Like he doesn't really mull over too many of the effects.
Yeah, he's someone who puts a shit ton of effort and time into his effects, but in no way feels braggadocious about them. Like he's not reveling in them. And a lot of these effects, as you said, you see for like 2 or 3 seconds and could easily be done for a lot cheaper and easier. But as a true auteur, he puts a shit ton of effort into these tiny moments. And I think that's what really makes a lot of Cronenberg films is his dedication more to the moment than he is to say the story at large. Not that the story at large is at fault in any way, but rather that Cronenberg's philosophy is all about these moments and these couple of seconds that are just kind of tied together and bring everything together.
Yeah, I love that fucking scene where he gets shot. And yeah, he's now different now. He's basically on the side of Bianca, and Bianca is basically like, look, Max, stop what you were doing before. You have another cause. Death to Videodrome. Long live the new flesh. Cronenberg's writing is so good. I love his little things. Like Death to Videodrome, long live the new flesh. And yeah, she's just like, you got to kill Harlan and Convex. Videodrome is basically like, a failed revolution. Like it's basically like a revolution that was kind of like hacked or kind of taken over by maleficent forces. And and Bianca's like, now it's time to destroy Videodrome and move on. And that's basically what Max is tasked to do.
And so he travels back to the front, the like glasses front. And I love he's standing next to this hobo who's collecting change because like he has like a TV and he wants to keep watching TV. And on the screen is like a very clear like wanted poster of Max, and he's just like standing right next to it. It's like a little thing, but it's absolutely hilarious, and I love it. It's just silly, and it's beautiful and wonderful in all of the ways.
Yeah, it's really, really funny. He's standing there because he's waiting for Harlan to get to the office. So he's like, okay. And so he follows him into the eyeglass store, and there's like glasses and stuff. And he follows Harlan in, and Harlan's like, hey. And I love that interaction between the two of them. It's like really funny for some reason. Harlan's like, hey, Max, did you kill Bianca? And he's like, yep. I did. Yep. I don't know. Like was his acting in that scene is like really funny. He's like trying to act natural. I don't know. There's something about it I find very hilarious. Yeah, this is like a part of the movie where it's like, what the fuck? Is this an hallucination or is it not? Where Harlan's like, okay, time for your next mission. I got this like disgusting videotape for you. And it's like a videotape that looks like an organ. And he puts inside of him.
So gross.
And immediately he realizes something's wrong.
And then it gets really windy. I love like whenever they put
I love the wind machines.
The wind effect.
Yeah, like when it's like, whoa. Like, where is it coming from? What's with all the wind? Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, it's so windy. And he like sticks his hand out, and his hand is like a weird club looking thing. And you're like,
it was like old school bombs.
Yeah, that's what it becomes. Yeah, and he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, and he explodes, which is great. I love it. It's great that somebody exploded. You gotta love that shit. He fucking explodes. And it's like, okay, is this hallucination or is it not? Is he really putting his hand inside of like Max and it's being turned into a bomb? Or like, yeah, you don't really know. At this point, it could be anything could be going on. he's like, I gotta kill Convex. Yeah, the main producer guy, the evil guy. He like goes to
like an event, like a charity event.
it's like an eyeglass like conference or something. It's like an eyeglass, like a weird hotel, like a weird 80s, horrendously 80s looking hotel.
It's like one of those, like when Apple, like whenever they like introduced a new like fucking technology thing, it's like one of those things.
It's like a conference or something, yeah, for like eyeglass people. And it's so funny. It's like it's just like he goes there and he's like waiting for him, and then Comics goes on stage and he's like, haha, yes, I'm great, and all this stuff. And then Max shows up and he's like chasing him around on stage and he fucking guns him down. And I just love it too.
Long live the new Flash.
Yeah, he just kills him on stage in front of tons of people and he picks up the mic and he's like, Dr. Videodrome, long live the new Flash. Is that, it would be so funny to be like a guy there, like attending the eyeglass fucking conference and you're just like chilling out and stuff. You're like, yep, I'm at the conference. And Max guns down this guy and he's like, Dr. Videodrome, long live the new Flash, and runs away. It's like, what's Videodrome? Like, what the fuck is that? And for some reason too, when he kills Convex, he like is like he turns into a disgusting mash. Like,
yeah, and he like erupts, like his organs come out of him. I don't really understand why that happens.
Completely random, but I love it. It looks disgusting. I love it too. The microphone is right next to him, so as Max is like leaving, you can hear on the speakers like him dying, like his like, which is like there's something kind of funny about that. Like throughout like the fucking like throughout the building on the speakers is him like horribly having a horrible death,
and of course using his incredible tactics, he again just walks away.
He flees very easily. I mean, it is Canada. I don't think they have as many police officers as we do. People probably don't have as many handguns.
It is an eyeglass conference, so like probably don't expect murder.
Yeah, they probably don't expect someone to get gunned down. But yeah, he completely kills him. And then you get basically like the ending of the movie right here where he finds a boat, finds an abandoned boat to chill out on.
He sure does. It's like this boat that's been condemned again, just like the whole movie. Really gross looking, just absolutely disgusting. It's been lived in by homeless people or something. You know, there's like this gross bed and just like gross shit everywhere. And he's sitting there, and you know he's doing his thing, and of course a TV screen appears in front of him, and that TV screen is Oblivion's daughter, Bianca, right? It's Bianca.
No, I think Nikki appears on the screen.
Nikki. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching it right now. It's Nikki. Nikki appears on the screen and she's like, here's what you're going to do. And then she basically just like shows him on the TV exactly what he's going to do. And then they show the whole scene.
Yeah, I love that. The TV explodes. Yeah, they show the scene. They're just like, here, she basically is just like, yep, this is the future. So I'm just gonna show you the future. And I love like the TV explodes and like gore and like body parts like shoot out of it too, which I really love. To completely defeat Videodrome, you have to kill yourself. And so you leave your old flesh, you know. You need to destroy Videodrome, and you basically have to just like leave like your old body. Your body is useless now.
He reenacts it.
And he reenacts what he sees. Obviously, there's like somebody reenacting what he sees on the screen, right? Which is a little on the nose, but yeah, it's funny. And yeah, that's it. He's like, long live the new Flash, and then he shoots himself.
End of movie.
Yep, that's it. He kills himself. Great way to end a movie. More movies needed to. Great happy ending of the main character killing himself. But here's the thing about the end of the movie. You can like kind of like interpret it as not him killing himself, but him entering into the next level of our human reality. You know what I mean? Like it's him, like, you know, he's experienced all these hallucinations. He's had this really wild ride. And as like Nikki says, like you have to leave your old flesh, you know, he's not dying. He's leaving his old flesh and entering into probably another plane, you know? So you can look at it as kind of like a little bit optimistic in a way, right? It's not really heaven. It's more just kind of like
it's reincarnation
in a way. Yeah.
That's definitely one way to look at it. Or he was just killed himself and he's just been hallucinating this whole time. and it's just a but we hope for the former, not the latter,
Yeah.
because that would just be really depressing.
I mean, either way, it's a pretty cynical movie for the most part.
We have talked about Videodrome and Cronenberg a lot on our Patreon show with Nothing Else to Say.
I just like mention it a lot because it's really good.
And I know your deep, deep love for Cronenberg. So I came into this movie having watched a couple of Cronenberg films. I did go see Crimes of the Future, and I had seen Brood in the past. I tried to watch a couple of more, but it's hard to find Cronenberg stuff for some reason. A lot of his stuff I couldn't really find. The film is so gross. It's so disgusting. The visual effects are off the charts. James Wood is fabulous in this film. The story is so weird and convoluted and ridiculous. I find myself even rewatching the film almost gagging at parts at just the absolutely disgusting body horror of this film. The sound effects, which I think is really underrated, really brings it to a whole nother level. I think without the sound effects, it really wouldn't be nearly as disgusting as it is. Again, the lighting is that very kind of 80s. There's something very hypnotic about this whole film. And it really is an incredible film. I think if I had any complaints at all, is merely the same thing that makes it so great, which is that it's a disgusting film. It's a disgusting, gross, cynical film. So it's a solid 8 out of 10. It really is. It's great all around. It's not an experience that you're necessarily supposed to enjoy. So, take that as you will.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like a 10 out of 10 because I really do love all that disgusting kind of stuff with it. I love its disgusting, vile nature. I just find it, I connect with it a lot. And, like watching this for the first time, like in high school or whatever, it's like very much like I have no idea what's going on. But, in multiple watches, is like the third or fourth time I've seen it. It does like ring very powerfully in my brain. There's just something about like the once again, Cronenberg kind of like sends this, this kind of like manifesto like message about kind of like, media and technology and television and its role. And, of course, Cronenberg, it works in the medium of, cinema and, cinema's on a screen. And so, of course, he's kind of like a part of that. And he obviously is aware of that. So, yeah, it's just like a very like intelligently made, it's not like an exploitation movie though. Like I think it's like a classy movie. I think it's like a very, a sensible movie. It doesn't really like go into any like crazy directions, violence or sex wise. I just think it's like really effective in its like effects and its visuals, and I think it's just an amazing movie that we can discuss like the implications and its messages of for a very very long time. But yeah, for me it's a 10 out of 10, not because it's perfect, but because I think it's just like I don't know. I think it's just like one of those movies that I think just really is good at kind of um, explaining the modern world in a really kind of convincing way.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. You can find this podcast wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at With Nothing to Say Pod. And you can find everything I do at AustinLugo12.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ADHarp24. I'm also on Letterboxd at RetroAndrew, RETR0 Andrew.
And thank you again for listening, and long live the new flesh.
Long live the new flesh, baby.